Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and today we are doing finale part 1 of MasterChef Junior. It's episode 9, season 9, and like I said, part 1, and they have this little, and their little, very brief description of the episode. It's called, quote, it's the final flambé. But that is a secret or a hint as to what is in the episode. So, just a reminder, there's 3 finalists, Remy, Michael, and Bryson, and they did go over what they were going to win, because I'm not sure if they do this every time. They say part of it, but I don't think they say all of it, but they will win. Whoever wins will get $100,000, a trophy, a complete Viking kitchen, and bakeware and kitchen tools. And what they are going to have to do for the finale is 4 stunning appetizers, an entree, and a dessert, which raises a few questions. Marco might want to address that. And of course, they're going to start with the flambé appetizer.
No, we're going to start with our review of the episode instead of just going through it like a mindless robotic retard. So I think the first thing in this finale the first thing that I'm really getting sick of seeing in these cooking show finales is like the part where the judges are walking through the door and they're walking in slow motion like they're so special and cool. And the thing is, like, yeah, maybe that was cool, like, back in 2008 or something, back when the cooking shows were just beginning to become a lot more popular and they were all starting, like, the big ones. But now that they've done that, like, a million times of, like, just, oh, look, it's the judges and they're slow motion walking through the door. It's like, I'm getting so sick and tired of that. It's so gay. It's so stupid and cringe. And so I'm getting sick and tired of seeing that. That's the first thing that needs to go out of anything.
What would you suggest they do?
They just walk through the doors like normal. And there's no slow motion and shit. Like they're treating it like these are gods that are entering the
arena.
It's like it's bizarre. It's like it's not 2008 anymore. Like them walking through a door is not special at all. They're just a couple of people. They're just a couple of guys who are like judging food. Like who cares? Like it would be like, could you guys imagine if like at the beginning of every review, Safi and I walked through the bedroom door in slow motion before we did our review? Like, people would say that we're retarded. They would say that we're pretentious idiots. So, what do you think of that, Safi? Do you agree with that?
Well, it is really cool. It's queer. It's weird. And
I mean, it's already weird with the fireworks and everything. They have all these fireworks. And it's like, but the slow motion walking through the door is just so old at this point, because they do it every single time.
Yeah.
There's never any finale where like, oh, let's try this, let's enter this way. No, it's always it's just so weird, right, Safi?
Yeah,
isn't that weird?
Look the other way.
Yeah, you always look the other way.
Well, it's like you said, it's just unnecessary.
If we had a bingo card for this channel, one of the things on it would be Marco points out something that sucked, and then Safi says, I didn't even notice it because I just looked the other way and ignored it.
And then I looked the other way because
You did?
It's boring. They do it every time.
Yeah. And the looks on their faces, too, is what makes it even worse. Like, they're just so full of themselves. Like, especially Gordon. Like, the expression on Gordon's face is just so, like, like, they're, I don't know.
Well, he has so much going on. They showed last night, as advertising, they showed 2 shows. They have the Coming Up. They have the MasterChef for the adults, but that's going to be, what is it? Baby boomers versus Gen Z versus millennials, and then he has some kind of other show, a competition cooking show. I mean, they're both two brand new seasons coming up. I mean, and then he had been doing this. It's like, it has so much going on, it's just a little bit much.
I hope that MasterChef is good, because last year, woof.
It just wasn't.
And then MasterChef Junior too, woof.
They even made the comment, I don't know if they made it last night
or
last week.
No, it was tonight, and we should talk about that, because I thought that was hilarious. Gordon said, honestly, I don't want to hurt any of the adults' feelings, but the appetizers that we saw were a lot better than the adults from last year. And it's like, well, wait a second. You're the guys who picked those fucking adults to be in the finale. Yeah. You picked the stupid girl who's obsessed with her own sexuality. She's so full of herself that she's like, I'm going to make a female dish, and then I'm going to make a masculine dish, and it represents me, because it's all about me. And you picked the guy. You picked the guy who's obsessed with beer, who's like, you know what? You can actually put beer in anything. You know why? Because I sell alcohol, and so it's actually the secret ingredient to anything. You know, I put beer in my baby food.
You know, like, he didn't say that.
Well, it's like,
it was almost true. Because he said he used beer for everything, or he could find a way to use beer in just about anything.
And it's like, you guys are the ones that picked those people. You sent that guy from Ohio, you sent him home so that you could have, so that you could pander and have a little moment with that girl and her sister, and, you know, talk about her stupid sexuality that nobody cares about.
No, they care about cooking.
Yeah, and it's like, you chose those adults in the same way that you chose these children to be in the finale. The three people you thought they were the best ones, you chose them. Like, they didn't. Like, isn't that weird too, Safi? Like, that was a weird comment, but it was true. Like, I thought these appetizers are a million times better than anything the adults made last year. Anything.
Well, they're
anything.
More adult, and this is what I mean. The kids don't have any fear. They do have a little bit, and they can get like Bryson, but he admitted this, but he always still managed to. It's like. The show must go on, is a very good attitude. And he's been in a lot of competitions, and he's been with his father, who's been in a lot of competitions. They're used to the pressure and stress of being, you know, at the finale, or where they're competing against all these people, and they have to come through. So he does have that, but the kids don't seem to have any fear about what to cook. I mean, they'll do anything. And the adults, you always feel like some of them are going to succeed and some aren't, but the kids, it's just like, well, they're going to do the best, and they're going to take chances, and they don't seem to be, you know, concerned. They just do it. Instead of talking about or stressing out about, they just do it.
They made things that you'd actually want to eat. I would have eaten all three of the appetizers easily over anything the adults made last year. Like, especially in the finale, like what that girl did. And the beer.
I have to say, I was so disappointed with that girl, because
I
had been watching all these van lifers and schooly people. And I was very impressed that she could come in there just in all the experience cooking. She would cook a lot of things, and they showed a little tape of everybody, and she just cooked it on this cooktop thing, which you plug in and you unplug, and then you put it away, and then at the end, all that stuff with the sexuality, it freaked me out, because I'm like,
it didn't.
This isn't what and the dishes that she cooked. I don't remember exactly everything she cooked, but it didn't go together. In other words, there was too much of a, this represents this, and this represents the other, and this represents something else, but they didn't go together. Because
that's what it's all about with these types of people. It's all about them.
And it's just like all the silly stuff.
They're very narcissistic. Everything is about them. And
it
so,
was
like,
sad.
but she got exposed before that. She did a terrible job later in the season, and they kept her because of her sexuality. And then they sent home the guy from Ohio, even though he should have been the master chef that season easily. Like, he was definitely the greatest player in that season. And but yeah, like with this season though, it started off, and the first thing that was different was actually that Gordon, he declared that the children would have to flambe something for their appetizers. I thought that was kind of stupid because, like,
I don't see how that makes something better.
It was like a gimmick to me. It was like, oh, we have to do something special because nobody's going to find this finale interesting unless we add a little gimmick. Well, and I think they could have come up with better gimmicks, though. I think that they could have had something where, like, I don't know, like something, like, you know, like something better than, like, okay, children, you all have to flambe something, because the part in the episode where you light the alcohol on fire is very, very intense, and it's like, no, it's really not, because it's like, that technique really isn't that impressive at all.
Well, I just thought that they thought they were going to upset them, and that they were going to stress out over having to do that. And like I said, these kids don't really have any fear. And they did, you know, Remy said, you know, I've only done the flambé once, and that was here. But she still, it's like the show must go on, and you just do it. And that's what they did. They all three did fine. That wasn't even really wasn't even an issue.
No, and so it was kind of like, wah, 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 and Gordon was probably like, oh dear, I really wanted a dramatic moment so I could put that in the trailer instead of just spoiling all the dishes. And by the way, guys, Safi, you want to talk about how at the end of this episode, they actually spoiled more dishes for next week? Like, they spoiled desserts even. So, like, we don't have the pleasure of getting to see those for the first time in the actual episode. We got to see them already. Like,
well, I just tried to let it go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, I try to forget it, but
because it's not going to be.
I have a good memory though.
It's not going to be the same as actually going through the whole thing. But next week it's actually going to be. I don't know. I guess they'll be able to edit it and get it all fit in, but all they did, I think, this episode,
the appetizer, and then they did the entree.
A little bit of the entree. So anyway, so if you want to know about their appetizers.
Well, before we get to that, I thought there was also a hilarious part because they brought the other juniors back.
Oh yeah, they did.
And I thought there was a hilarious moment where Leela was being interviewed. And she was saying, like, I think they're going to struggle with the flambé because flambeing is really hard and dangerous. It was really funny. It reminded me of, like, remember when she was like, I'm really worried about that other team because blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, that's what it reminded me of.
Well, the thing about her is she's like, what, 7 or something? 7 or 8. And they're all 10 and 11. So they're a little bit more mature. And something like flambé, like I said, really, they all did it, and none of them had any trouble with it. And, you know, Remy did hers very fast. And the other two waited. In fact, they made a comment like, "Oh, it's almost time to stop, and they haven't done the flambé yet." And I'm like, I'm not worried about it. Why are you?
Oh my God, they haven't set the alcohol on fire yet. Oh.
And I don't know. I guess there's some dishes that might make a big difference in flavor.
I don't think so. I don't
care about it at all.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of, like, because we've had a couple of flambé dishes before. I think we've had a couple of steaks.
There's a dessert that you can make where you flambe. I can't think of it right now.
But like, no, that's not flambeing. That's different. That's the that custard thing, or whatever.
Is it Baked Alaska?
No, it's that
something else.
That thing from High School Musical. High School Musical dessert. What was that called?
I don't know.
It's the white thing, and you torch the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, we've had a couple of flambe dishes, and honestly, it really didn't make a difference at all in the flavor.
Thing for me.
We have had a dish. Creme brulee. Yeah.
That wasn't what I was thinking of.
Really? You torch the top of that?
Yeah, you torch it, but I mean, this is something where it has alcohol on it. You set it on fire. Well,
there is the that beef stroganoff that we make with Natalie Wood stroganoff, and we put a little cooking sherry in that, and that you actually do taste that in the dish, and it tastes really good. And then I think the red wine risotto that I made before, also, but like flambeing is like kind of lame. Like, I think flambeing is something that's like kind of outdated. Like, that's like something from 2008 as well. Like, oh, look, I'm setting my pan on fire. I'm really cool. I fit in with the cool kids. I'm a youngster and I'm really hip. I'm Chef Gordon. Like, right?
Yeah. Okay, so
what do you think?
Talk about their appetizers.
Well, all of them did a good job, except for I would say that Remy did not make an appetizer. She made an entree.
Well, it was like there was so much to her. You could, and you'll do this too. Sometimes people, and we've done it, go to a restaurant and just order a few appetizers. That's like a meal. And hers actually went together like a meal. She made a striped sea bass with mimosa vinaigrette and a salad, and it was like a little meal. And
it was an entree. Like, if you look up fish appetizer on Google, what do they have here? They have mini fish tacos, which that sounds really, really good.
Like little finger tacos.
Nobody here likes fish tacos except for me.
No, I'm not into fish tacos.
I love fish tacos.
But I like all the other kind of tacos.
I like fish tacos better than normal tacos, because I think normal tacos are boring as hell.
They are boring.
Baked seafood dip, okay, that's not. Shrimp dumplings. These are small things. Fish taco bites. You notice bites. These little small things here. Cucumber slices with
stuff on the top.
Stuff, probably salmon and shit. Creamy feta with tinned fish. Ew.
But she still did a good job.
Yeah, she did a good job, but like, nobody gets an entire fillet of fish as an appetizer. That's just not. That's an entree.
Well, it was smaller, I think, but
it didn't look that small though. Like, we've gotten these salmon fillets, and for some reason it's like enough for like a child or something, and it's like they think that that's the fillets that people want, and so it was as big as that to me, right? Those salmon fillets that we get at the store.
They're okay. They're just trying to divvy them out to make money. So anyway, Bryson, he did prawns and hush puppies with some kind of relish, and I couldn't understand it, but it doesn't matter. And now his thing was he was a little concerned about the hush puppies, because if those have to be cooked perfectly, or if the center is, mushy, the center tends to be, if you don't cook them right, mushy inside. And that would have wrecked everything, but he did fine in his too, and it was it was a good, the serving, it wasn't like having a meal. And then Michael did the crab bisque.
And so let's talk about what we thought about Bryson's appetizer. I would say
it was southern.
It looked really good. I love hush puppies. Safi doesn't.
I don't care for hush puppies.
Because she's a weirdo.
They're very salty.
So, I love hush puppies. I think they're really, really good. But I would like to try these, like, special hush puppies because the ones that I've gotten are from Long John Silver's. And so, like, I'd like to try, like, real hush puppies, not like these fast food hush puppies,
Well, they don't, everywhere you go, and if they have hush puppies, they're not necessarily good. We used to go to a restaurant in Kansas City, outside on the eastern side, Independence area, between Blue Springs and Independence.
Carrabba's?
No, Marco. This place called Stevenson's.
Oh.
It's no longer in existence.
Stevenson's.
And they would serve, it was really good food. It's a shame that it shut down, but they had hush puppies. In fact, it was the only restaurant in that area I think I'd ever had hush puppies. And those could be good. So it just depends too, but that was probably his biggest challenge, even more than the prawns, which that might be somebody else's worst and hardest challenge, but his was the hush puppies, but they turned out perfectly well. In fact, they made a big deal about cutting it open and looking at the inside like you do on cuts of steak, to see if it's medium rare.
Yeah, they're getting, like, really, really obsessed with that. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
But everything he did was perfect.
Except they said something about his cuts were kind of sloppy, which, honestly, I really don't give a fuck. I really don't care.
I thought he did a really good job.
Like, honestly, like, if that's the nitpick that's not going to get him the trophy, that's kind of stupid. That's kind of, like, lame, You had this girl who made an entree and said it was an appetizer. I think that was the bigger flaw. And then what was Michael's appetizer, Safi? Let's talk about that.
I think he made a crab bisque.
And that sounded really, really good to me, because usually, what do you have, Safi? What kind of bisque?
I have no idea.
Are you serious? Damn you. Lobster bisque.
Oh.
You usually have lobster bisque.
And I think he did a crab salad and croutons. And it seems because I think he's the favorite, actually. To me, it's implied.
Well, yeah, he is the favorite, but I wanted to say that...
If they're critics, so they're kind of like really nitpicky, like you look at him and it's almost like they're trying to stress you out by saying, like he didn't do his flambé until the last minute. So, oh my God, it's a terrible thing. He and Bryson, though, neither one, they both did theirs at the last minute. And then he made croutons, and they were perfect to go with the salad, and say, well, you didn't need to do these croutons, and
you didn't need to have the croutons on top, and you didn't need to have the crab on top, or something like. And I just like to say, though, I was really glad to see this crab bisque, because I don't like lobster at all. I think crab is 1,000,000 times better than lobster. And so that actually made me really hungry, because, we haven't had Red Lobster in a long time. And, I love crab. And so I really wanted to try this crab bisque.
And we don't have any, there's that Crab Shack place that's kind of a national chain.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that around here.
Yeah, so I would say that, out of all 3 appetizers, that would be the one that I would order, because I love crab. So
he also used caviar to flavor his dish, which they were impressed with too. And they made a comment about that. It was very expensive taste. Like, oh God.
You have expensive taste. Yeah, well, you know what? This is a cooking show, and this is the finale too. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, why wouldn't I have expensive taste in the finale?
Okay, so really, the judges' criticisms were like infinitesimal. There were just hardly any at all. They all did, I'd say, a really good job. Remy overdid it. And I know you said something about it didn't like the cuts on Bryce. I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, they said they were like sloppy or something. It's like they're really like scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Like sloppy cuts. Like who cares?
And then they criticized Michael's croutons that he just didn't need them.
Yeah, you didn't need the croutons, and you didn't need the little crab on top. It's like, that's not for you to decide. That's for like the individual to decide. Like, if I get croutons on a crab bisque and I don't want them, am I going to send that dish back? No. I'll just take them off of the crab bisque with my fucking fork. Right, Safi?
Yeah, it's just silly.
Yeah.
So, anyway, they, like I said, minimal criticisms for the appetizers. Okay, then they got to get a start on their entrees. Michael is making a halibut and something they call it Thumbelina carrots, which I never heard carrots. Of course, Thumbelina means they're small, and then like thumbs, Thumbelina, and then purple kale, and they went on, and they just kept it up because they didn't finish with the entree. They will finish it in the final episode, and then they'll do their desserts. But I guess it's the hardest fish to cook because it's really thick. And so they just went on and on and on. It just kept going back and, oh God, he's making halibut. And he admitted he had never made it before. And but he wanted to, he wants to go the distance. He wants to be challenged. I think he's kind of like a phenom cook, really. He's really good, and he just does. He's very focused, and he also can multitask.
And the judges, they were really trying to make it seem like, he's doing halibut. Oh no!
He's gonna die now.
And you know why I was worried though? I wasn't worried because he was cooking halibut for the first time. I was worried over whether or not it would taste good because halibut sucks.
I don't like halibut at all.
Cod sucks. I think walleye is pretty good.
Walleye's good.
But like cod and halibut are like some of the worst fish that I think I've ever had because it's just so bland. Like you need sauces and shit to make it taste good.
He made this comment. I don't know exactly what it was, but he wanted to... he's kind of a seafood person. He likes to do seafood, at least for this competition. He wanted to do seafood dishes. So, I don't know. I don't care for it, though.
Safi, you have rubbed your hands together so much. It's like, are you like trying to like summon a magic being or something?
No,
like, are you trying to get the genie from Aladdin?
I don't wear gloves, and they're dry. And I put lotion on them. They need lotion now, but
Safi, the genie isn't going to come out of your hands if you rub it. If you rub it the whole episode.
Okay, Bryson did. Of course, he did a filet mignon with Wagyu sauce. They made a big deal about that. Shallots and some kind of red wine something sauce, maybe. I don't know if he had another thing or the red wine went with the sauce, whatever went with the shallots. I'm not sure because, they get down to these little details and, if you don't hear the whole thing, it's confusing. But anyway, so they went on and on. They're really happy about this Wagyu sauce. Like, ugh. And I don't like any of that stuff. So the Wagyu sauce, the shallots, and the red wine, whatever it was, I don't care about any of that. But anyway.
I think it could be pretty... I'll have to see, like, what the entrees actually look like before I would say which one that I would want to eat the most.
Well, it's just... To me, it's really a step up for him because it's not just something you would go in a grilling competition, do filet mignon. These other three things that went with it elevates it to a different kind of, like a restaurant quality... not outdoor grilling or, like what he's used to with his dad. It's something different, so that's a plus for him, because they were happy and excited about the Wagyu sauce. Like, okay, and then Remy, which I don't know, she's making shrimp and grits and collard greens. I am not a fan of collard greens, and hopefully the shrimp and grits will be good.
No, isn't she making shrimp heads? It's just the heads.
I don't know.
I think it's just the heads. She's gonna have it to where, and now we might save this for the next episode because it reminded me of last year with that girl, and like, I'm gonna make my entree look like a rabbit got shot on the plate because that's what masculinity is. Like, and so but with this girl, she's gonna have these shrimp heads so that they're looking up at you from on the plate, like they're poking out of the juice.
I don't care for that at all.
Like, and she said like synchronized swimming or something, and I thought, what is it with like girls and like doing these really weird plating styles where it's like they're really creepy and it just makes you not want to eat the dish? Like, what is up with that, Safi? Like,
and I'm thinking, like, well, where is she from? Is she from I was thinking at first she must be from Louisiana.
Hollywood, Florida.
She's from Hollywood, Florida.
Which
I don't know. I just wasn't thinking of her because that's kind of like a collard greens. It's like a southern thing, and grits, totally southern.
Yeah.
And so I know Florida is considered in the South, but not like Alabama and Louisiana and South Carolina. I don't know. It just.
I think I'm kind of disappointed because I think that it was kind of a missed opportunity for her to do an alligator dish, because I think what would be more impressive, to cook halibut for the first time or to cook alligator for the first time? Alligator, right, Safi? Like, could you imagine, like, you could do a really cool plating style with that? I'd like to eat alligator too, like, because alligators are like probably my top couple of animals, and like I'd like to eat them too. So.
Well, they have plenty of alligator down there, so they wouldn't. There's no shortage of that. They do have alligator farms.
I think it'd be fun, like, Super Size Me, where the guy just ate McDonald's and then was surprised that he got fat for a month or whatever. Yeah. Like, that idiotic documentary. Well, like, I would like to do a documentary called Super Alligator Marco, where I go on a diet where all I eat is alligator. And, like, just see what happens. Like, do I turn into an alligator?
You have to at the end. Somewhere else. Not like you get that when I do.
Do I turn into... What do you think, Safi? What would happen?
I don't know. I don't know how you couldn't do that and live here, because we can't get that. Or if we can, it's really rare.
You'd have to go to Jungle Gyms. In Cincinnati. Well, Safi.
So anyway, they left off there. They're cooking their entrees, and then of course they'll finish up in the final episode. They'll be evaluated, and we'll see if Michael can cook the halibut, and how the other two people, how their entrees turn out. And then they're going to do a dessert. And like Marco brought up, they did kind of showed them with their desserts. And it's not like, they did do one dessert episode. Remember, they made ice cream dishes.
Yeah.
And the person who won that is no longer in the competition. It was Asher. But I'm not saying that those three people did bad. They did badly. They did a good job, but
I'm just saying,
won that competition.
He's
not in there anymore.
The lack of focus on desserts seems to be showing in the preview. But anyways, that's next episode. I would say I really liked this episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. And the thing that I liked most about it was it felt like everyone deserved to be there.
Yes.
And that's a rarity in these
Yes,
MasterChef shows. Like, it's always like, oh, there's that one person who doesn't deserve to be there. And it's like this year, all three of them are really, really good. And so it makes for a really, really good finale. Because you just...
competitive. And
yeah.
You don't really... I think Michael's kind of favored. But the other two are, they're not... they're good.
And it's positive, too. It's not like they're being mean to each other or anything.
No, they're all supportive of each other.
So I really like that. I think this was a great finale, part 1. I give it an A-. I heavily enjoyed it, except for Safi. She kind of put a damper on it when she said that she doesn't like hush puppies.
I don't care for hush puppies. So I think at Stevenson's they might have made apple. They might have made those regular hush puppies. They might have made apple because it was an apple orchard nearby, and they would make their dishes. They would put, they had an apple pie, but they might have added apple, to some of their other dishes. So it was a good place to eat.
Oh yeah, and we should also just mention Matilda. She really is blended into the background.
Tilly.
I'm gonna call her Matilda
Tilly Ramsay.
I don't like the name Tilly. I think it sounds like an old woman who smells.
I know, and it sounds like somebody's British. It reminds me of that movie with Audrey Hepburn. What's that called? Won Oscars and everything.
Yeah, well, I just
That's
feel
what it
like,
reminds me of.
They mentioned that she was the new judge this season. I was like, you know what? She was like one of the weakest parts of the season because it felt like...
They didn't allow her to do anything.
Yeah, it felt like she was on training wheels. She didn't know if she'd be allowed to say certain things, and so she would just say very safe things like, things that are kind of obvious, and so... I hope that she kind of gets better next season because she was really good in the holiday special.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of weird how suppressed she was. It was like she was being held back in a cage or something.
Okay, well I gave an A- too, and really basically it's because it's like the things that they picked to show some kind of problem or drama or whatever.
They're all kind of fake.
They're really not. They don't exist, or
Yeah.
they're minimal, and then they're entering into the place like they're Greek gods coming in, or they're going into their Roman emperors coming into the Colosseum or something. I mean, come on, really.
And are they going to do that forever? 50 seasons later?
I don't know. It's just weird. And I hope, like Marco says, Tilly, who she's a very supportive judge, and she gives good criticisms, whether they're good or bad, but I think they're more helpful. Sometimes, when these judges, especially with the adults, I'm glad they don't do it with the kids, but they get picky and they get mean, and they throw, they'll throw their dishes to the wall, or they'll throw them dish and all into the garbage can. They get all huffy, and she's not like that. If she doesn't like something, she gives a good, helpful feedback and criticism in order for the person to learn from what they did and do better the next time. Or even if they get, if they get eliminated, that they'll do better, they'll learn more before entering another competition, and they'll work on their weaknesses. So anyway, she's good, and I hope she gets more of a voice. So that's it, everybody. So looking forward to the final episode next week, next Monday night, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye.